Hello everyone, and today we'll be taking a look at the demo for Years of Division. This is an upcoming strategy RPG that is heavily inspired by Fire Emblem and Dungeons & Dragons. You'll be able to play this demo by the time this video goes live. I'll leave the link down to the demo in the description down below so you can check it out yourself. Now when it comes to Fire Emblem inspired games, one of the biggest things that I look for is how do the devs sort of make the game their own and make it its own unique entity rather than just being sort of like a discount Fire Emblem. There's no shortage of strategy RPGs on the market that do have that same Fire Emblem inspiration to it, but a lot of the times you sort of end up feeling, why would you consider continuing to play this game instead of a mainline Fire Emblem title? So that's what I really do try to look for in all of these Fire Emblem inspired games, and for the most part Years of Division does include quite a few of their systems that does differentiate it a little bit, that I do like and that I think has a lot of potential. I think one of the biggest things is sort of like the cross with character customization and rolling for initiative when it comes to attacking other units. So just because it is my player phase, and just because I am going to attack first, doesn't mean that I'm actually going to be able to attack a unit first. So we could see here, Annika, I have her attack this raider, but the raider is actually going to attack first, followed by Annika, and then the raider, and then Annika. So the reason why is that every unit has a haste and reflex attribute. Haste determines basically like how fast they're going to go, and then the reflex is, you know, the reaction time to that haste. If a character's haste is lower than a character's reflex, then they're not actually going to go first. And if the haste is higher than the reflex, then they will. So we can see here that Annika's haste is 1. The enemy's reflex is 3. So this enemy is going to attack her first. And then we can see the enemy's haste is 8 and her reflex is 8, because the enemy, because their values are the same, I think the enemy gets to go first. I don't think it's weighted towards the player. So that is a level of depth when it comes to attacking other units, is you want to make sure that you're actually able to survive an encounter both on your phase and the enemy phase as well. And another thing is, if we have somebody can level up, Goland can level up. So let's give Goland, let's have him let's see, we'll smite. Okay, so we'll level Goland up. So every character is going to have certain bonuses for their level. So we get a +2 potency, which I believe affects his spell strength. And every level, sometimes levels won't have a bonus, but other levels will have certain bonuses to them that will improve their character. Now every character is going to have a set number of attributes that they're going to gain upon level up, plus a random bonus. So Goland, he's our cleric. He's going to get 2 power every level, 0 speed, and 3 insight, on top of health and mana. And these will also have a chance to get a bonus. So I have gotten a triple bonus before where all 3 attributes get a +1. But I think for the most part, you're only going to get 1 random +1. So we see our attributes over here, and then from here we can allocate those points into anything we want up until the end and then continue. So you do have that option to sort of build your character to your taste. So it's not entirely random. You don't have to deal with any sort of random level ups, random growth rates. Your characters won't get, stat screwed, but instead you can build them the way you see fit. And then it also offers some replayability, where if I want to build Goland with like max constitution and potency in one run, and then in another run I want to instead try and make him like a dodge tank with his 0 speed growth or gains, that's one way you can do it. Or if I don't want to do constitution, I can do just all in on magic potency, right? So we're going to up his HP, get him some more survivability. For this one, I think we're just going to evasion. We're probably not going to get a whole lot of speed. And then insight, channeling is mana. We could do a magic defense, physical defense, and then mana points. So, that's just one way I can build Goland. Another one would be I could go all in on mana, so every run you have your possibilities for building characters different ways. So I think we're gonna go over here. Let's go ahead and attack you. Alright, so we get the first strike. Now, the way combat works in this game is that a first strike is always guaranteed to hit. So you do have that guarantee with a first strike. And then if the enemy cannot counterattack, they do this move called Take Cover, which will then reduce your next hit by 10%. So it does give them a little bit of a defensive bonus. But for the most part, I think the enemies are just too weak right now for that to really matter. And then you can see as they defeat enemies, they're building this third meter below their mana. That is a crit meter, so you don't have a random chance to crit enemies, but instead you build up this crit meter, and then once that goes to full, then you will crit the enemy and deal, I think it's the standard 3 times damage. So we're going to do first strike on Hanukkah here. And then I really do love the custom sprite attack animations, and the backgrounds as well is fantastic. So in terms of like art wise, definitely a great job for the art team, or character design and unit design. The sprite work looks amazing. The backgrounds also look great. I think the only one I'm not too sold on is Yova. And can I get a full... No. So like Yova over here is your warrior. They're, glasses wielding warrior. And it just feels... I want to say it's like the glasses themselves kind of throw me off a bit, where like the frames, it feels like it honestly feels like I'm looking at sort of like a modern person LARPing in a fantasy world, when you have, Goland and Arset and Annika, they have like, they look like they belong in this fictional world, and Yova looks like they, fell through a portal from the real world in here, sort of thing. So it's just like a character design that I'm not too sold on. But that's just, personal preference. And another unique thing about unit movement is if you are familiar with XCOM, you know that units have a standard range that they can run in, that they can move in where they could do actions, and then they have like an extended sprinting range to move even more. So we do have a little bit of that as well. You can move anywhere in the blue tiles and still take an action, or you can move into the yellow tiles and, you know, just wait. All right, so we have this musket here with the 0% chance, and they have quite the attack range. So Yova has greater reflexes, so they get to attack first, despite being on enemy phase, and then we get to also level up. Oh, we get 2 mites. Speed bonus, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and just up the might and constitution, so they're like a frontline bruiser for us, so we're gonna lean heavily into that one. They're also very fast, so we're gonna do haste, and let's actually bump up the reflex as well, so that they can sort of like be a jack of all trades. And then accuracy, that seems about right. Oh, I got another point of speed. Yeah, let's boost reflexes. So one thing I have noticed is that magic users, they are incredibly squishy, but they are also fairly strong as well. So everybody does seem to have really low, like, magic resistance. Alright, so wow, we got a lot of speed on that one. 5 speed. I want to go into crit. Try and boost our crit rate up, and then we're gonna go... You know what? Point in all 4, and then another in evasion. And then I'm gonna go resolve as well. I think he'd be a great unit to counter mages. So because his reflex was so much greater than their haste, he got to attack twice. Okay, some of these enemies are elites. Press shift. And you got special enemies that are going to be stronger than normal, like this guy down here. I think there's one over here. What are my objectives? Defeat Raider Chief. Where is... Who's the Raider Chief? Raider Elite? Golden Wabbit? Wabbit? Golden Wabbit? Raider Chief. Oh, okay, so you're the boss. Gotta kill you. Alright, you can't move. Do we focus? Will that do anything? No, okay, so it doesn't remove the vines, but you can focus up to expend some mana and it will heal you. So that is, you don't necessarily, of course I still have a cleric and I can use the cleric to heal. But if you are in a situation where your cleric is just out of range, you can deploy that emergency self-heal to heal yourself. We're going to go with Arset here, and he is so fast he gets to attack twice. Or the musketman can even respond. Now, for a point of criticism I have of the game is, you know, I am playing on a modified difficulty setting. I am playing on hard enemy placement, which is supposed to increase enemy density and their placements as well. But I am also playing with normal enemy stats. You're actually probably not a good one. you will, though. Normal enemy stats. So the enemies, their stat lines are probably a little lower than what I was actually expecting. And then a hard game over condition. And even with that hard, normal, hard difficulty modifier, I am finding the game fairly easy, especially within these like early chapters. And we're still in like a tutorial phase, so I think it is to be expected because it is still teaching me various aspects of the game. However, I do find that it is still a little too easy on like a hard difficulty. So anybody who is experienced with strategy RPGs or Fire Emblem, I would recommend starting off on the higher difficulty levels, because right now I'm not really punished all that much. You know, I still make some mistakes, and even when I'm making those mistakes, I don't feel that I'm punished enough for them. I can still get out of them and stuff like that. So that's just like one thing that maybe could use some rebalancing. A 0 hit rate, Jesus. But I'll also have to come back to this on a higher like enemy stat difficulty, because like right now it's just very easy. And I think another point of contention was that because I am familiar with these kind of games and how they play, let me get rid of your movement. Yeah. That a lot of the initial tutorials for the like first few chapters are a bit redundant for me. Like I think when you get Arset, it'll tell you that he's an archer. You can attack from 3 spaces away and, you know, be safe and everything. And there's like that text tutorial about him and archer units and stuff. And it's like, you can't really skip it. So even if you already know, you still have to like kind of click through all of it, and, you know, you can't really skip anything. So that's just like one thing that if a player is on a higher difficulty, I'd like to be able to skip, have an option to like skip those dialogue options. We're gonna go over here, bait out this guy because she has greater reflex. And we could actually do something like this. Okay. That's fine. Easy peasy. And so like that enemy was like a special enemy with like a special skills, some extra attributes, and non-threat, complete non-threat to me. So it might be worth upping the difficulty for how like I already lost my train of thought. Like rebalancing how unit stats are. And another one was that there was like reinforcements in the previous chapter, and the reinforcements only spawned in one at a time, and they were a complete non-issue. Whereas I think it would have been better if, you know, instead of just one reinforcement for one turn that just immediately got attacked and crushed and insta-killed, it would be like multiple reinforcements. so that, you know, you would feel pressured to sort of like back off or prioritize certain enemies over others, because it was just complete total non-pressure in that stage. But it was also like tutorial fight, so it's yet to be seen just how difficult the game will get. But even like, as you can see now, we're in a bigger map, and I'm not really having any difficulty whatsoever. The rabbit's gonna go up there. This golden rabbit, if you kill it, you get a free level up, and you get extra stats. You know what? I'm gonna heal you just because I can. And we're just gonna wait here. Ouch. Wow, you could really shoot me from far away. Alright, so our crit meter is almost getting there. Oh, yeah, he's so good. He just completely demolishes that guy. Let's see. I need to... I need to kill these three. Those are the threats. Smite does not kill. So I need to go where Goland is. We're gonna smite him anyways. And we go right here. Kill you. I think we go for the musket. And you get rid of that guy. Alright, I'm not gonna be able to attack the rabbit this turn, but I'll have some time. Alright, you go down here. Another level up. Power bonus, nice. I'm gonna continue to go into crit. So that 24 crit per hit, that's huge. Going into dodge tanking, reflexes, dexterity. I'm just not even gonna try making her a player phase unit. Do that. I get Yova. So let's head over here. And we'll head down here. Oh, that's gonna suck. Alright, so we're gonna lose Gax, but there is no permadeath. There is a permadeath option. You can select permadeath before you start the game. But it does say that the game is not intended to be played with permadeath on. So he'll be back in the next chapter. Instead, there is a the defeat conditions are if you lose X amount of units in a stage, you'll lose the stage and have to try again. So I think the limit for this stage is 3, so if I lose 2 more people, then it's a game over. So there is that. We get 1 power. So we get 3 power per level up now. Nice, we got a 4. 2 into might, 2 into constitution. We're gonna do haste. You know what? Just 2 into haste. So if we could overpower their reflex, we get to go twice. Ooh, rabbit's running away. Can I have you? We'll smite the golden rabbit. Give it to Goland. So why not? So I really do like rabbit bonus. +1 to everything. I really do like this character customization option. That's something that is a huge bonus. Holy channeling. And I think we just go down here. What is your haste is 4? You know what that means? You get annihilated. I'm gonna just go over here. Actually, we'll focus up, get that self-heal. Never stood a chance. But yeah, I mean, it just feels super easy. So this is like something I'd have to revisit on a higher difficulty to see if it's, you know, more of a challenge. Ow, buddy. Oh, he's in the double cover in the woods. Oh, no shot. I got the crit too. So we'll see. We'll get to see the crit right now. And you get custom crit animations as well, so that's also a huge gain. Love to see those custom animations. What are we looking at? Ooh. Oh, that's right. You have good reflexes and you attack from range, so you're not actually going to attack me. So I think we'll send Yova down to take care of this guy. Possibly. So we're looking at 19, 100, 14. Ooh, risky business. What is this? Your crit bar feels 30% faster while you are standing on a forest, mountain, or fortification. Ooh. That's pretty big. Alright. I'm gonna just go all in on the might, dexterity, and haste, accuracy, defense. Crit bar. 25, no. Alright, so we're gonna do a gamble. Get the first strike. Wanna hit that 84. No problem. Not really punished. Level up. All right, so we get the 2 might. Let's do a prowess. Try and get that crit up as well. Let's see, defense, and then haste and reflex. And there we go. Added warding flames to storage. So we got another rune. And then that is the chapter. So still very tutorial-fied. In a lot of ways, it kind of reminds me of like Lens mode from Fire Emblem 7, or like the first 8 chapters of Fire Emblem 8, where those introductory chapters are they're more on the simpler side to teach you the game. One thing that I would like is for that to not overstay its welcome, as I do think that is a pretty significant detriment to those specific Fire Emblem games, that I don't think Years of Division should look to fall into that same pitfall. So that was Years of Division. We just tried out a Chapter 5 map. I'm actually going to take you into the difficulty selection, so you can just do an all or nothing. You know, start out with normal or extreme, hard, whatever, or you can select your own difficulty modifier. So the difficulty I had was hard, normal, hard. So for the placement difficulty, you'll face increased number of enemy units, slightly more aggressive formations and tactics. Enemy stats are going to be standard units, and some will have special abilities. Player units will have slightly increased survivability. I do think this is a little too easy for anybody that is familiar with tactics, strategy games, so I would definitely should have bumped that up to hard. So if you are familiar with, you know, these games, I'd start off on hard, maybe even very hard, or go all in on extreme, because even at normal, it's just, you're not really under a whole lot of threat. And then defeat difficulty, you'll fail the chapter if 3 allies are defeated. Very hard goes down to 2, and extreme, if any ally is defeated, you lose. So there are those modifiers you can select to your own taste. And then attrition mode is basically Iron Man or permadeath. So if your character dies, if any of your characters die, they will be dead forever. But they do state that that is not the intended way to play the game, but it certainly is an option for you. So overall, I do think Years of Division has a lot of good things going for it. The music track is great. I think they have their own. They have 2 people who have made the music, so they have their own, you know, music and pixel artists, illustrators. So they have their own small team that is putting all of this together, and I think they are knocking it out of the park so far in terms of that. I do love the art style of the game. It has that like watercolor, oil painting look to it, where, you know, characters look really detailed, with like just based off of like the art style, and you know, you can see the brush strokes as well. Character designs are pretty solid across the board. Again, I think Yova is the only one that I'm a little iffy on, but other than that, they are fantastic. I love the character optimizations that you can do with leveling up the characters, not relying on random growth rates, and then being able to spec them to your playstyle that you prefer for them. It does give you a lot of opportunity to experiment around with different builds, and I think that's always a plus. I think one thing I forgot to go over in the game, or maybe I mentioned it briefly, but there is also a bond system, so similar to like Fire Emblem supports. characters do have bonds with each other, so you do get to see that character building happen as you play the game. I did skip over all of that because that's just something I want to save for myself when the game is fully released, but that is certainly an option. So these characters are, you know, become more endearing over time. They're not just pieces on the board. It does give them that personality to them. And I do think the haste and reflex initiative system does offer a lot of depth to the player phase, enemy phase relation. So it's not strictly going to be, you know, player attacks, enemy attacks, player attacks, enemy attacks. There are some variables that you do have to take into account, and that does certainly add another layer of strategy you have to take into consideration. I think that's a really good aspect of the game that kind of makes it more than just a Fire Emblem knockoff. So that is another huge plus for me. I do think that the map quality in these initial 5 chapters that I've played so far is a little on the lower end in terms of, you know, challenge presented, as well as, you know, unit placement and unit pressure. It does feel a little bit on the lower end. And then there's also the fact that, like, tutorials weren't skippable either. So if somebody's already familiar with the game, if they're playing the game a second time, they still have to go through all of that. But overall, I think Years of Division is off to a very strong start. I think this is a fantastic indie strategy RPG. It certainly scratches that Fire Emblem itch, but it also brings more to the table in terms of its strategic depth. So I am excited how this is going to develop in the future, and I certainly will be returning to this as it gets developed more, and I am looking forward to the full release. Again, you can check out the demo yourself by clicking on the link down in the description below. Let me know what you think of Years of Division. Is it something you're interested in? What do you think of the demo so far? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you for the next video.